So Dan, how the
Yes,
hell
sir.
are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing okay.
Well,
Given the date, it's a somber day for all of us Americans. But overall, I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
I'm doing well, and I just lied to you about 5 minutes ago. It's actually a pretty good day. On another note, sir.
Oh, you did lie.
So
You guys, we've been waiting for this for a little while.
I got us some coffee, but today they're beer mugs. I'm gonna drink my beer out of this.
I will have my beer out of this. What are we drinking today, Zach? We got
14
Cannons Patient Pilsner. It's a Czech Pilsner, you guys. It's really good, really refreshing. It's been about a zillion degrees lately. So we are going to have ourselves some Pilsner out of our mugs. I love this.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Very, very nice. I love it. Oh, you got me a shirt. Thanks, buddy.
Val,
Val.
get over here.
Ooh. Nice.
And we got other merch
there for now.
So
We got merch, you guys.
we'll touch on that later. But I just wanted to start off with a little positive
I like
note.
it.
It is a little bit of a sad day.
It is.
We're remembering it is
19 years
it
ago
is
today.
currently September 11th.
Right.
We're just wrapping it up. It's about
Yeah.
10:30 here.
That will be the topic of today's episode, you guys, just so you know.
So definitely with the topic of today, I think we should kick it off with a moment of silence.
I agree.
All right. And one other thing I want to mention is worldwide yesterday, September 10th, was Suicide Awareness Day.
Right.
So for anybody who has struggled, who has contemplated with the thought of suicide, we're glad
guys-
you're still here. Anybody who's dealt with the loss, we're very, very sorry.
It's difficult, you guys, and we won't hesitate to be here for you if you reach out to us. To all our listeners, we really do want to be here for you guys. We're more than just a couple of guys ranting in a garage. We actually want to make a personal connection with each and every one of you guys. So please keep that in mind. And if you guys are feeling kind of down in the dumps, please reach out to us. Seriously.
Yeah. A big goal of this podcast is to make positive difference in anybody's
Absolutely.
life, even one person, right? That makes this whole thing worth it. So
Couldn't agree more.
And lastly, before we really dive into this, I think it's appropriate that we thank all of our nation's first responders, police officers,
Yes,
firefighters,
yes.
nurses, doctors.
You guys, if you've ever saved a life, thank you. If you continually go out there every day and face these adverse situations where you don't know what you're walking into, but you know you want to help people, thank you for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and without much further ado, we are on. Well, okay, so Zach, where were you? How old were you? And what was going on?
September 11th.
What happened on September 11th, 2001 for you?
2001. So I woke up. My tradition in the morning was to wake up and turn on cartoons. I don't remember what my show was back then, but wake up, eat my cereal, turn on cartoons. And I remember I wake up and every channel had these two buildings burning. And I was 10 years old in the 5th grade.
Yeah.
No idea what these buildings are. No idea what's going on. All I saw was these buildings smoking and people are talking about it on the news. And I don't know. Well, then I get to the bus stop and all my friends are there going, "Hey, did you hear we're under attack?" And naive little me goes, "Cool."
Oh, God.
Yeah. But
You didn't know
generally
any
I
better.
thought
You
it was
didn't know
cool.
any better.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
war. Yeah. Right?
Right.
Like the start of our violent games era. That's
Right.
poisoning our
They
brains.
romanticized it, yeah.
So I'm going, oh, wow, that's badass. You know, like we're going to war, right? Well, little did I know anything about our country and the
Right.
status.
You
We
had
were
no
already
idea
at
what it
war.
was- what was at stake?
That somebody was trying to bring the fight to us, which is something we pride ourselves in making it very difficult to do.
Right.
And so I went the whole day, and people kept talking about it, and I just remember being confused, and it didn't really hit me till I got home, and my dad was in tears. He sat me and my sister down and explained to us what happened, and I said, "Holy crap, this isn't cool. This isn't cool." And
Right.
we're not a very religious family, but I remember to this day, my dad took me and my sister out back. It was a beautiful sunset in Tucson, Arizona, and he prayed out loud we all held hands, and he prayed for everybody
Wow.
that lost their lives that day.
Wow.
And that was when it hit me. Like, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I mean,
It's
you
heavy
never
stuff.
forget, right?
Yeah.
So what about you?
You know, I was in second grade, and I remember just getting ready for school like any other day.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents came downstairs, and they looked at me and my brother, and they said, "Hey guys, we're not going to work today. You guys aren't going to school today. We're just going to spend the day together as a family."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember what we did the rest of the day, but you know, I remember coming back to school the next day,
Mm-hmm.
and the conversation we had in class, because apparently, and I don't know if this was just a local thing or whether it was a lot of kids were pulled out of school or whatever, but most kids, it seems like, didn't go to school that day.
Understandably.
Yeah. And so we had a conversation about it in class the next day, and we're second graders. A lot of kids, myself included, couldn't really wrap their mind around the concept, you know? What is happening?
Right.
And, you know...
What are you, 7 years old?
Yeah. 7, 8 years old. How can you possibly understand that?
Barely know how to tie your shoes, let alone understand the fundamentals of war.
Right. Or really what the fabric of society was back then, and common decency and, you know, things like that. Regardless, and, you know, I think to this day, that's still something that is under construction, so to speak. You know, what social constructs are and what decency is continues to evolve. But I think at that time period, you know, it's a nostalgic time period for me to be that young. You know, everything in life had its magic about it.
Right. Riding your bike to school instead of the bus, you were the cool kid, you know?
Right. But to me, especially fresh out of the 90s, where I deem it such a pure era, to me at least, you know, it was a rude awakening that the world isn't all just, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that suck, right?
Yeah, a lot. There are a lot of people out there that suck. So that's my memory of 9/11/2001. My parents came downstairs and said, "Boys, we're not going to school."
Yeah, I was thinking about that when you were talking about it. I was looking back going, I wonder why my sister and I went to school. And the only thing I would imagine is my parents were still asleep. You know, they hadn't seen the news yet.
Sure.
So, I don't know. It's a very interesting day. I remember the morning and I remember the afternoon. I don't really remember what happened at school throughout the whole day. Just a lot of chatter. You're too young to understand.
Yeah, how do you wrap your head around such a thing?
Yeah. But think about the way that our country handled it the day after. For a long time, we were...
I think there was a unity amongst all Americans, and it didn't matter whether you like to put toast with butter or toast with jam or whatever, so to speak. All your differences were set aside because we were Americans first.
Right.
And I think that's something that we ought to strive to have more of in today's society as well.
Agreed. And one thing that I think is really cool, though, is look at all these kids that were our age that went, as soon as they turned 18. A lot of the people that I served with, when asked why they joined the military, they go back to 9/11.
Sure.
And this was now 10 years later.
Sure.
That's pretty cool, man. As a kid my age, at 7 years old or 10 years old, whatever, to say,
yeah,
I'm going to go do something about this. I can't do anything now, but a lot of people kept that promise, and I think that's very honorable.
I agree that it's honorable. I don't know if it's thoughtful. Let me elaborate.
Please.
If you look at that problem, it's that they brought the fight to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said earlier. I think joining up and going overseas to bring the fight to them just exacerbates the issue.
Sure.
You're stoking the fire, you know? Unfortunately, the reality of the situation is if someone bombs you you're going to be pissed about it, right?
Yep.
Why wouldn't you be? You have every right to be. Someone comes into your house and they start destroying things and attacking your way of life and, causing this undue grief and stress. I don't care if it's them or us. We're all them and we're all us.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I feel like that's how you get extremism.
That's that's a valid way of looking at things.
Right. It's a shame because I want America to be safe. I want the world to be safe. I want everybody to, hold hands and sing Kumbaya, figuratively speaking.
Right.
But it's not a reality.
Right. I mean, if the whole world felt that way, then we wouldn't have any problems.
Naturally.
Like you said, extremism. It's a thing. It's alive. It's
right.
Especially nowadays.
Right. There's a lot of extremism out there. Yeah. And I think a lot of it gets overlooked as well because people are going, well, it's justifiable. And in some cases, not that I'm attempting to justify it, but I can understand why they would be upset on their own behalf. If you are a young Pakistani boy or whatever, and you see some sort of, Afghanistan. I don't know if we have soldiers in Pakistan at the moment.
I don't think we do.
Yeah. So,
but I get
my mistake on that.
Sandbox. Just call it the sandbox.
Yeah, if you're a young Middle Eastern boy and you see American troops come marching through your village all the time, you're going to be pretty pissed off about it because what if you remember the times before then when you and your brother and your sister could go out in the street and play? And now your parents say, stay inside. It's safer. Well, those American troops are the bad guy to you.
Yeah.
And you don't know any better. You're right in your head ever since you were a kid. Unfortunately, I feel like that's how a lot of extremism is created. I think it's misunderstanding more than anything else. I hope it's misunderstanding. It's easier to get onto the same page if you both work towards a common understanding.
So while I think you're right, though, do you think it's possible that we could ever, as a whole, as humanity, see the light and say, yeah, this extremist mentality from any side just has to go and we'll be fine? Could that ever actually happen? What I'm getting at is, like you were kind of saying, those kids who grew up and decided they wanted to go serve their country because to them they feel, and I feel, it's the honorable thing to do.
Sure.
You have a valid counterpoint to that, but
I'm not arguing that wanting to defend your country and defend your home is an honorable thing to do. Of course it is.
Right. I think what I'm picking up on you saying is, do you really want to go back 10 years later and bust down the door like, guess what, motherfuckers, I'm back? Is that what you're getting at?
No, I think the issue is that I don't know if that's the most effective method. It might be all they can do, Not everybody can join the CIA and, thwart these terrorist plots from foreign nations and, lead us to a safer future. I don't think that's realistic, I don't think I'm CIA material. Are you?
Hell no.
Okay, so
I'm dumber than a box of rocks.
While I want to defend this country with everything I've got, I don't know how best to do it. And I think a lot of them just thought, well, the only way I can do it is picking up a gun and going and killing the other guy. Well, the other guy is going to die for his country too. He's doing the same thing as you, wearing a different uniform.
That's very true.
Or I guess the war we're fighting there in the Middle East, they're not wearing uniforms.
Right.
You fight, a third world country's illiterate conscripts, and they're using stamped sheet metal AKs, and they buy them by the crate. And the reality of the situation is they don't abide by any rules of engagement. There is no Geneva Convention they abide by, no Nuremberg laws, no NATO, none of that.
They're sick, man. They they'll send kids out just to play with your emotions to see
Absolutely.
if they can,
and
as a decoy.
It's terrible. That's a crime against humanity to send a child into war.
That kind of shit makes me want to say, nah, fuck you. I'm busting down your door.
It makes my blood boil, but at the same time, how can you hold someone responsible for it that may or may not be? I think if we found the people responsible, guillotine them,
Mm-hmm.
firing squad, whatever. I don't care. You're lower than low to do such a thing.
Right.
But the issue lies in the accountability. Who can you hold accountable? And the whole game with terrorism is we all did it. How are you going to catch all those guys? Or they don't talk at all. And then it's, well, now I don't know who to hold accountable.
That's very true.
It's difficult because everybody wants the best outcome. Everybody wants peace, But how do we really obtain peace? I don't know if that's an answer I'll ever have.
I was going to ask you if you have the answer. I'm all ears.
I wish I did. There really is the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
And I think that circles back to our September 12th, 2001 situation where everybody kind of, for lack of a better way to put it, came together.
Yeah. Creed, color, beliefs, it didn't matter. We were all
Arabs
Americans.
And Jews got along just fine.
Right. We were Americans that day, and for a very long time.
Everybody was an American first.
Right.
And it didn't matter because for a brief moment, an iota of time, people understood that America's just a great big melting pot anyway. We're taking these genealogy tests to find out what's in our blood because we're not Americans. We're not Native Americans. Maybe you might have some. I know. But you get what I'm saying, right?
Yes, I do.
We're a melting pot.
We're a country full of immigrants.
We are.
Yeah.
And people for a brief span of time grasped that.
Right.
And
maybe they realize that's part of what made us.
That's the beauty of America. That's the strength of America is our diversity.
Mm-hmm.
It's our ability to look at another guy and go, that guy knows something I don't. I can learn from him.
Right.
Everybody you meet knows something you don't.
Right. Or even that guy thinks differently than I do. I don't agree with what he thinks, but also look at this new result by putting our thoughts together or debating even. Look at this new outcome we have.
It's important.
Now we're growing.
It's important to have your ideas challenged,
right.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about that before.
That we have,
that is very, we're kind of doing that right now.
Sure.
On a very small scale. But,
sure.
Yeah, man. It's almost a shame that we were so young when it happened.
Why do you say that?
It took me years to understand it. To really, truly, I went home. My dad, like I said, we prayed, and I've never seen my dad before that day in my life with that emotion on his face, and that dug deep. But I was probably not till I was a junior in high school till I realized till it actually hit me, what happened, the motives. Now all the info's out, right? All the phone calls you hear, people calling their loved ones, the reality of it.
And that's the kind of stuff that'll shake you to your core.
Yeah. I guess that's what I'm getting at. I had that moment.
Yeah.
2000. So probably 7 or 8 years later, I finally had that moment.
Yeah.
Of holy shit.
You hear some of those phone calls, you can't help but get teary-eyed.
I read one today, and it was just here we are almost 20 years later. 2 decades.
Yeah, it's powerful. It's really, really powerful.
Mm-hmm. But that saddens me because I walk around today and nobody's talking about it. Right. For a good while, like you said, the day after we all unified. Then for the next decade after, it was a big deal. 9/11 was a big deal. Mm-hmm. And now it's I go to work today and nobody even mentions it. And I think that's kind of a... Go ahead.
Do you think it has anything to do with maybe some form of political correctness in some regard?
I don't know if... I think it more has to do with fake wokeness, if we will.
Okay. Would you not consider that
sure
akin to...
Yeah, political is the word, but correct is wrong.
I couldn't agree more.
Wokeness. Yeah, I see what you're getting at. Yeah. And yes, it's very saddening to see where we're at as a country today. Especially today. Professional sports are, And I'm not pushing any agenda or giving my opinion on this, but I am saying that professional sports care more today about honoring a movement that is fed by the media, and it's not wholly truthful, and it is brainwashing a lot of people, and it's hurting a lot of people on both sides. And not one mention of 9/11, not one mention of the firefighters and police officers that died that day, people that jumped out of the Twin Towers, like not one mention of honoring those fallen people.
Yeah. You know,
because they're police officers, and that's a big problem in today's society.
I, as a Patriots fan, am really proud. I looked, you know how Facebook has those look back on your memories from today?
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. I looked back on my memories from today. And in 2016, today, I'm a big Patriots fan, you guys. I know I've brought that up before, but I think it...
He's not perfect.
You know, none of us can be. Today, in 2016... the Patriots actually brought some firefighters from New York that helped during 9/11. Sure. And they were the captains for the coin toss that day. I thought that was really cool. I'd really love to see that again this year, you know? I mean...
I just want to see the Patriots thrive. Not the football team. The real Patriots in the country. People who still love this country. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. I confused myself. I do that a lot. But you know what I mean? I want to see September 12th again, 2001. I want to see our country unite. And it's sad that it takes things like this to unite us. It's sad that it takes tragedy to unite us. Why can't we stay unified?
I couldn't agree more. I've had that thought at a lot of different points in my life, after different experiences. And it's a travesty that people can't just be good to each other and revel in each other's goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I understand people are going to bicker and disagree. I mean, I shot a guy at the bird today because he couldn't back up a trailer and it blocked the whole road for 10 minutes, and I got really upset about it. But
what kind of truck?
I didn't want to hurt him. A Ford F-250. Yeah, it wasn't a Ram.
I need not say more.
Yeah, I almost hopped out and say, "Hey, man, you want some help? Because I got places to be." And you are being a bad example for an American right now. I was
the shame.
This close.
Oh, the shame.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's got his buddy. That's the funny thing too. Is he's sorry for the tangent, but he's got his buddy. His buddy hops out of the truck and he's like, "All right, man, cut it. No, other way, dude. It's backwards. It's a trailer. Hard left. And I'm just sitting there going, like, it was entertaining for like the first minute, but sitting there for 10 minutes, there's cars on the other side of the road too, and it's like, hey man, taught you how to drive a truck, and if your buddy thinks he knows so much better, why isn't he in the driver's seat?
What kind of trailer was it?
There's a lot of problems here. It was like a dump trailer. Gotcha. It was a little 6x8, like full of dirt or landscaping waste.
I used to back those with my old Jeep Cherokee.
Anyway, that has nothing to do with our topic, but
back to business.
Yeah, need a little light in
I think that
situation.
People do bicker over stupid things these days.
Yep. Guilty.
They've always bickered over stupid things. That's not going to change. I think that's the human condition. But I also believe that we can be better and we need to be better. We need to do better towards each other and for ourselves.
Okay. So how do you have any suggestions on how we can do that? Not on a large scale. Well, on a large scale as in, something for everybody to take from this, but I'm sure that a little can go a long way if we all get on the same page, right?
Sure.
Do you have any recommendations for Americans and how we can kind of get back on track from this derailed, miserable train that we're on in 2020? Not to put you on the spot. Dan had no idea I was asking this question.
I really appreciate you asking a question like that because it forces me to think and really speak from my heart.
The hat.
And I think people should not be so easily scared. People are scared to stand up for what they believe in. People are scared to be friends with different people.
Yeah.
Different meaning anything. Different people meaning their own friend groups that they've been stuck in.
Oh, I understand.
Or different people like, hey, I don't know you at all. but I like the shirt you're wearing, man. Nice to meet you. I'm Dan.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's weird these days. You'd be called a rapist.
Yeah, or whatever.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's why we need to get back to where that's not abnormal.
All of a sudden because you're friendly.
Yeah.
I think that is a big issue in today's society, and I think that's a conversation for another time. But,
sure.
But I think putting your best foot forward in most situations really will help. Because if I come off as a confrontational asshole right away, and I tell the guy that he sucks at driving because he drives a Ford, probably not going to make so many friends. Now, does he suck at driving for driving a Ford? Unequivocally. But the reality of the situation he doesn't. You know, it's a joke. And a lot of times these days you see guys going, "Oh, that guy can't take a joke. That person can't take a joke." What if that was his dad's truck and now it's his and he's, you know, been dying to drive that thing? And it's little things like that.
I've been there,
just
man.
Let it fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
Let it go. It doesn't matter that much, you know? And I think people hold on to things too much these days as well. They allow these small, insignificant things to become almost part of their identity when confronted about them. And they cling to that thing even more tightly as a defense mechanism, as an excuse to not like those kind of people that say those kind of things to them.
Yeah. I think one big contributor to our divisive nature these days is social media, technology. We're really disconnected. You sent me a text message earlier and I talked it back to you into my wrist.
Are you one of those guys who talks it back in, like, you know, a grocery store?
No, I just got this yesterday. I actually think it's pretty awesome. But
congratulations.
Thanks. I got it mostly for track and fitness. I'm curious how many calories I burn in my workouts and stuff because I'm trying to kind of match it to my macros. Slightly. I'm not actually counting macros, but I am kind of rough ballpark estimate. Just trying to be at a slight deficit so I can stop being so fat.
I don't think you're fat. I think you're losing weight.
Thanks, man.
You're pleasantly plump.
Thanks. Strong like bull.
Duh. After you.
No, yeah, that's fine. I just think and I'm taking a little bit of my own medicine here. I'm kind of, I would like to challenge anybody on my friends list who can actually see this. I don't necessarily think that sharing a meme that could or could not be true just to favor your political views or whatever, or incite a argument or a debate that usually turns into nasty words and people being keyboard warriors. And so I'm challenging myself and everybody else. I think that would be one small step forward if we could just send that message to everybody. Like, social media is not going anywhere.
I'm not blameless myself.
Right. I mean, it's hard, man. It's easy to chase that rabbit, especially if you're bored.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, social media is not going anywhere. Technology is not going anywhere. But maybe we can start channeling it for good. I think technology and social media have both evolved super, super rapidly. Like Apple, the iPhone's what, 10 years old, 9 years old?
God, I don't even know anymore.
But that's not that long ago. It's really not.
Yeah, but we act like it's been around our entire lives.
Exactly. 15, 20 years ago, I had a telephone wired to the wall in my bedroom that my parents could listen on while I talked to my friends about secrets, and my parents knew everything. We're so disconnected as a society, and I think that kind of promotes hatred a little bit on a very subtle in the background.
Can I also expound on your...
Please.
Not only do I think that we post these memes that just reinforce our opinions. Yeah. And
echo chamber, as you referred to it last time.
That is exactly what I was about to bring up again. I'm going to make a challenge to all of our listeners, especially if you're on my friends list, I challenge you. Do not block people with different opinions. Try and understand their side. Try and gain a little bit more perspective. They very well may be wrong with some of their facts, but you know what's not wrong? Their feelings. And I think it's important to understand the human aspect of debate as well as the factual aspect.
was kind of touching on, and I think it was a very humane thing for you to bring up about, kind of putting yourself in the other shoes over in the sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of, without saying it, I feel like you kind of said that, the young men were raised to think that American soldiers were bad and evil,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't know any better.
Right.
A lot of us were raised the way we're raised, and that's why we believe what we believe.
Right.
And some people are raised in such a different way that we can't understand how they could possibly believe what they believe.
Right.
I am guilty of that.
What is Christmas dinner for you like? What do you eat at Christmas dinner?
Whatever my dad's cooking, because he does a hell of a good job.
Well, you're wrong, because it's whatever my grandma used to cook. You see?
You and your lemon.
You see what I'm saying? Lemon ricotta cookies. Those things are to die for. But.
Or to live for.
Yeah.
To die from?
If
Cholesterol?
you have too many. But you get what I'm saying. It's little idiosyncrasies like that where people disagree and create wars over it. You're just as right as I am. That is what you have for Christmas dinner.
See, even now I'm going, okay, about the Christmas dinner, yes. But like in real life, like there's some people that I have these arguments with, and it's so hard for me not to be like, you just want to shake them, right? Sure. And they want to shake me too.
Sure.
But I'm stronger than them, most of them.
Sure.
That has nothing to do with it.
It means nothing.
All I'm saying is I wish, and myself included, I wish we could all just stop pushing hate. We spend a lot of our lives on social media, and if that's gonna be our new way of life, we should probably use it for something a little better than we're doing now. And maybe we're in just an extreme funk right now because of how quickly technology has evolved, that it's kind of, humans we abuse things by nature.
The times are tumultuous, and we have the means to expedite every piece of information that crosses our minds. Then every fact gets misconstrued 1,000 different ways and blasted out there.
Well, and if you try to Google search it, like you have the internet in your palm, I have the internet on my wrist. Mm-hmm. It's really important to check your sources. But the problem is, some people think these sources, because they are biased one way, are
you say
right.
Google, but Google censors all kinds of different search results as well.
Yeah, Zuckerberg, if you could stop censoring people that you don't agree with.
Google is not owned by Mark Zuckerberg.
Huh?
Google's not owned by Mark Zuckerberg.
I am aware.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I agree.
I'm spinning off.
I agree, though. Mark Zuckerberg is
Bezos,
a weird
all of them.
alien man who needs to go away and stop censoring us.
I'm just saying, right, it's a private entity, right? Yeah. So it feels like our First Amendment is being violated, but it's not. We don't have to use Facebook.
You're totally right.
And I hate it because I want to delete it every day because it's not doing me any good, but we got the podcast, so it's doing me some good.
We do it for you beautiful people.
Love you. And we've got, I've got the off-road page going.
Right.
TMG Off-Road.
Right.
Maybe you heard of it.
Casual drop by Ram.
Yeah, so I don't know. If you take one thing away, friends, I'm going to try to do this too. Share funny stuff. Lift each other up. Stop being so negative. Maybe keep scrolling when you see something you disagree with.
It's harder to do than it sounds.
I'm terrible, but it makes me mad. It puts me in a bad mood. 1, because I know what I'm doing to myself. 2, because I know what I'm doing to others. 3, because I know it's not healthy for anybody to argue over pointless stuff.
I think just now you said something that is very pertinent to another thing that causes a lot of mental issues. I would say a lot of mental issues stem from this in our society. You know what you're doing to yourself.
Yeah.
It
makes me angry.
Right.
I make me angry.
You do it to yourself. You have the choice to engage or not. Mm-hmm. And most people simply cannot not engage.
Not in today's day and age.
It's a shame. They think they're so formidable with these half-baked ideas and opinions
I love that word.
From Facebook articles that they only read the headline of. Yeah. I've been guilty of it a few times.
I've been guilty of it at least 50% of the things I share. And then somebody calls me out and I go, oh, you're right. And I delete it. That's the difference. I didn't do my diligence. So if somebody calls me out and says, hey, man, actually, what you shared is wrong. Yep. And I go, damn, you're right. I'll get rid of it. Because I don't want to be that guy.
No.
But you're touching on how easy it is to do that.
effortless to do that. It takes even less effort, is what I'm saying, than forming a real opinion of your own and doing your homework and figuring out what's really going on. It's a lot easier to click share on a regurgitated opinion.
So easy. It's so easy.
Yeah.
It's, oh.
I think to obtain peace in ourselves, amongst each other, internationally, everywhere in the world, and when the aliens finally come, everywhere in the universe, we have to be compassionate, but more importantly, we have to be thoughtful. We have to be introspective.
I'm stuck on aliens, bro.
Maybe they're out there.
You think we came from aliens? Like Mike Tyson does?
No.
Mike Tyson.
I don't think we came from aliens, but the Pentagon has literally said there are aliens. So let that just be a warning for when you get zapped by a laser beam. I don't know. I don't know anything about aliens, you guys. I just said that because, back to our main point, I think it's important to be thoughtful and introspective. If we know ourselves, we understand a lot more about the human condition than you might think. Everybody wants the same things. I say this like once a week on this podcast.
So you think we're out of tune with ourselves?
Absolutely.
You think we should all look within?
Look at what everybody's getting pumped full of these days.
Right.
Whether
Lies.
it's shitty chemicals from food, or it's lies from the media, or it's crazy nationalism on either side of the aisle in one way or another, or you're getting pumped full of so many things you have no idea you're getting pumped full of.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all subliminal,
especially
these days.
in America.
Absolutely. You go to Tunisia and you probably don't experience it the same way.
Yeah.
You know, but here we are the Rome of the modern era. We are the richest, biggest, strongest, meanest, and all of us are fat, lazy oafs, all of us citizens. To the victors go the spoils, and we've been feasting on the spoils for a while.
And not only that, we're big and strong, this, that, and the other, but we're trillions and trillions of dollars in debt, and we are crumbling from the inside out. And, our enemies are...
There was a big explosion in the distance, you guys. We don't know what that was, so we'll probably go investigate with some night vision goggles and some tomahawks later. So, neighborhood watch.
Facts. Ram. I lost my train of thought there.
We were talking about how everyone gets pumped full of this, that, and the other. How we're in severe debt.
And how we are crumbling from within, and our enemies, our foreign enemies, are loving it. They're beating us with it. They're beating us without even lifting a finger, and they've been trying to beat us with all their fingers for a long time. So we're giving it away. I think we need to look within. We need to be better as human beings. Give a shit a little bit more about mankind, to put it simply. Be less shitty and don't give in to the social media crap. Don't.
You ever seen The Big Lebowski?
Nope. I've heard of it.
It's about a guy who wants to replace his rug. But the character, the dude, his name is Jeffrey Lebowski. And they confuse him for another Jeffrey Lebowski, whose wife is like this trophy wife, and she's going around spending all kinds of money, getting in trouble, blah, blah, blah. So this guy is now in some deep trouble, and they get the wrong Jeffrey Lebowski, and they start messing with the dude. And the dude is the most easygoing slacker you've ever met. And the dude abides. That's literally a quote about himself from the dude. The dude abides. He takes it easy. Goes with the flow. It's interesting. If more people were the dude, I feel like we'd have a lot better chance at world peace. Because right now, too many people are Walter or Donnie, for those of you guys that have seen the movie. I'm very guilty of being Walter a lot of the time. Walter Sobchak is played by John Goodman. He's a big, angry Vietnam veteran who brandishes his 45 at a guy at the bowling alley. Anyway, he's an angry son of a bitch. There's a lot of angry sons of bitches out there. And there's a lot of clueless sons of bitches out there. Donnie is clueless.
This is the Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski.
Okay. I think
Watch it and let me know what you think.
I will, and I like having something to label it. The dude, I like that idea because that dude mentality, I feel like, is a big part of what this country was built on, constitutional wise, right? Like, hey man, let the two dudes down the road get married, and let this guy sell fruit on the corner without a permit, and let that guy go fishing in that lake without having to pay for a license. As long as nobody's trying to force you to change your life and allowing you to live your life the way you want to, that's what we need to get back to.
I
don't care what anybody wants to do as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else.
There's a principle, as you guys know by last week's episode, I'm a fairly staunch libertarian, to put it lightly. There's a principle in the libertarian community called the NAP, the non-aggression principle. If you leave me alone, we're good. Be the dude.
Right, exactly.
If you aggress towards me, if you force something on me, the government wanting to tax you on this, limit you on that, be in your bedroom, tell you what you can and can't do.
Overregulate.
If someone breaks into your house and wants to rob you, not so cool. That's not cool.
No, it's not.
But if you don't aggress towards me and what you do doesn't affect me, I don't care what you do. If your actions affect others, that's when the issues start to come into play.
Right. We as a country need to get away from however this belief developed that there's only one way to live and your way is the wrong way.
Sure, but
stop that.
But if Johnny down the street wants to smoke a joint and order 6 pizzas, I don't care.
Sounds like a fun night.
Who's he hurting? Who's he hurting?
Domino's. They're gonna sweat in the kitchen.
That they're making money, aren't they?
It's jokes, man. Yeah,
you know,
just a little light. I think,
and I feel like Johnny would probably be more of a Little Caesars guy. They're cheaper.
Maybe depends on how much money he spent on that doobie.
Fair enough, I guess.
Either
how are we
way,
doing on time, Val?
It's about time.
It is about that time, you guys.
In closing, what do you got?
I really think, you guys, that we need to be introspective when approaching situations regularly. I think we need to self-regulate because I feel like a lot of people don't hold anything back these days because the times are so ridiculous. It's comical how high stakes everything is these days. And it's exhausting and infuriating, and the times demand this of you, this energy that you're just supposed to manifest. I think we need to self-regulate, you guys, and be introspective. And I think we need to be more understanding of each other. We need to be better to each other. Let's not forget September 12th, you guys.
Yeah.
What about you, Zach?
I'm gonna hit on the other side of that because you hit that very well. By no means am I saying it's wrong to defend your property and your life and others, and all this peaceful talk. What I'm getting at is still exercise your rights.
Absolutely.
Still look out for one another, and if harm needs to be done, don't be afraid to do it. But use your discretion. That's the problem. Is people are wanting to do harm for the slightest things, and they're not sitting back and thinking before they act.
I think the key term to use here would be judiciously. If you strike, strike judiciously.
What's that word mean? I am dead
with
serious.
With judgment.
Okay. Yep. Makes sense.
You know.
Yeah. That's what I would like to close on.
Yeah.
Defend yourselves. Let's hop on the peace wagon just a little bit. Let's get a little more friendly and get back to being the great America that we know we can be.
It's better for everybody when we're cool.
That's it.
Just the dude abides.
Right. So on that, this has been Burban Vikings episode
5.
5. We're past a month. This is amazing.
This is nuts.
And in my closing statement, in the good words of George Washington, probably, definitely not, maybe, stay strapped or get clapped.
That was a Sun Tzu quote from The Art of War.
Probably.
Peace to you.
Cheers.